and welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you a card that I made. So I made this card using this stamp set by the ink Road called Bun Intended. I purchased this stamp set a while back and I just had not had a chance to use it, so I decided to pull it out and start playing with it. Here I am stamping the image with some Ranger archival ink onto some Canson watercolor paper. I had to stamp it a couple times just to make sure that I had a good impression. And I am also going to be using this Daniel Smith color dot charts, colors to try to color it. This is a 238 set, which is more than I need. But I purchased this a while back at Michael's, and I think I even used a coupon for it, just so I could go and check the colors that I used. They are beautiful, and you know, the texture of them when you start coloring is just so nice. I mean, I don't own a lot of watercolors. I'm not an expert on watercoloring, but I really like how these ones work. And I purchased a small set from Simon Says Stamp, and that's how I got hooked onto them. So when I saw that Michael's had this set, which was $238, and I think I bought it for, I want to say like $8 or $9. I used one of the coupons, so it was either the 40 or 50% off, but it was a really good deal, I thought, to use that compared to, you know, buying the little charts. And for my coloring here, I'm not doing anything fancy, anything special. I did not list the colors that I used because they're, you know, I was just experimenting, and I'm using different tones of browns for both the hair and the skin, and trying to, you know, make some contrast with darker and lighter colors as well. So like I said, I'm not an expert, but I do really enjoy using watercolor again. Now I am using a Prima watercolor brush, and you'll see that I switch between this small one and a larger one. So the smaller one I'm using for the image mostly, but then I get out the larger one to do the background. But anyway, I am just going to leave you with some music while I finish the coloring, and I'll come back so we can put the card together. Okay, so here I am almost done with the card, and as you can see, I had to layer the background a couple of times because it looked a little faint, so I wanted to, intensify the color a little bit more by, layering it. So I used my heat tool to speed the drying process, so I didn't have to, sit down and wait for it to dry. Another thing you could see here is I didn't tape my paper, so I was having to sit there and hold it and do that. Now here is something that I'm going to show you is a mistake that I made, other than not sticking it. I tried to double stamp it to make the image look a little bit darker, and I messed it up. My paper kind of got stuck to the image, to the stamp, when I tried to put it the first time, and it moved. So then that ended with some shadow stamping that I was not, too happy with it. I was a little sad, I did spend a little bit of time coloring the image, and I was, just let it go to waste. But then I got the idea of restamping the girl image and then just popping it up because, to give it a little bit more of dimension. So I went ahead and I stamped it again and colored it. I spared you from that, coloring again, and it worked out great because you can layer it right on top, and, nobody can tell of the mistake. So here I am just getting it ready to die cut it, and I'm using one of these Ariel wonky stitch die to cut my panel. I put the image, I just put a little bit of glue onto, or tape onto the second image, so that way it can cut it and you can get that impression of the stitching onto the image as well. So here I am stamping the sentiment, and I am using the sentiment that comes with the stamp set. It's not something that I would normally use, I guess, but I thought it was funny, and it would come in really handy. I have a person in mind that I will be sending this card to, so it just fits her so well. But anyway, I am using some blue embossing powder here to emboss the sentiment, and it's got a little bit of a shimmery tone to it, so it's not dull blue, but it kind of looked nice. So I just stamped that there, and then I am going to use some embellishments, or try to embellish it a little bit. But before I do that, I was going to put it onto my card base. And again, I'm using a regular standard 4.5 by 5 1/4 A2 card base. So I put tons and tons of tape there, double-sided tape, to make sure that stays in place. My panel was pretty dry, so it wasn't gonna curve or anything, but it never hurts. Here I am being a little bit generous also with the foam tape, or these little foam squares to put onto the image to mount it up. But I was pretty happy with how these ended. I even, for the little strand of hair that's coming down, I even ended up cutting a little tiny sliver of the foam tape to put in there. And later on I was thinking, why didn't I just keep that space like I did for the other hair to and then color the background? But anyway, this is how I put it together, and it came out really cute, I think. So it gave it a little bit of dimension. You can't see the blank on the bottom, underneath the image, but I thought it came out really, really cute. So now finally I am using some of the Simon Says Stamp Moonshine confetti to decorate it, and I just decided to sprinkle a couple to see what they would look like. I was trying to use my glossy accents, and when I pull up the little clogger or the little tip, metal tip came off. So I was like, no. But well, I'm in the middle of filming, so I wanted to finish the card, and I did not want to stop it again. So I just used the bottle just how it was to kind of dab a little bit onto the card, and that way I could use put the confetti in there. So I only used a few here and there to just give it a little bit of interest, but that was pretty much the whole thing of my card. And well, thank you for stopping by. I hope you did enjoy this video. I am going to be trying to make more videos. I am terribly terribly bad at editing or doing, trying to put it together, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to learn, so it's kind of a challenge for me to push myself to do this. So anyway, I love making cards, but making a video for them, it's a little bit different. So I made left the inside of the card blank because I was not sure who the recipient would be, or what I wanted to put inside just yet. But this is my card, and I hope you liked it, and thank you for stopping by. Bye.